What is a warmonger? Warmonger? That's somebody who mongers a war, I guess. Warmonger. You know who used to use that phrase? The communists against our country. We're the warmongers. We're the interventionists. We're the colonialists. We're the imperialists. We're the bad guy. Warmongers. Is President Trump a warmonger? Of course not. A warmonger. You know, there are people who are more aggressive in terms of interventionism. There's no question about that. Believe it or not, I'm not one of those. I remember when John McCain, every time there was a conflict, we ought to do this, and I said, no. There are pacifists and appeasers who claim to be for peace, but pacifism and appeasement in the face of an enemy that is imperialistic and colonialistic, that does want to conquer a region, a country, or the world, that's suicide. That's not peace. That's why Reagan came up with the phrase peace through strength. Trump uses the phrase peace through strength. Why do we have a military? Why? Because we just want to have all kinds of cool equipment? No. To protect us. So that's number one. Number two, when do you strike an enemy? Every case is different. Every case is different. The key word in determining when or whether you describe an enemy, the key determinant in whether you do or don't attack an enemy or take other action against an enemy is prudence. Prudence. It's not an ideological decision. To use slogans, warmonger, blah, blah, that's not helpful. It's like any time somebody says something, you know what, you're a racist. And the whole point is to shut off the debate and the discussion. So in that context, let's look at Iran. Should we be going to war with, or more appropriately, should we have a military campaign against Iran? Keep saying, was the threat imminent? Yes, but it's not required to be. People throwing around, you need the threat to be imminent. You hear the Democrats on TV, you hear the woke Reich neo-fascists. It wasn't imminent. It wasn't imminent. You know, Levin chose the war. Levin got us into the war. I'm minding my own business sitting here. I'm a podcaster, broadcaster, TV host, author. I got us into the war. I happen to think this is a righteous war. But on the one hand, my critics say, you're a boomer. You have no influence. You're losing audience. On the other hand, I'm so powerful and so influential. I'm running the government. Stupid. It matters who you listen to and who you don't to keep your own sanity. Is this an imminent threat? Is this a righteous effort? The answer to both is yes. Is it constitutional? Absolutely. What about the War Powers Act of 1973? The Democrats and the media are hoping you've never read it. Within a 48-hour period, the president under this statute is to inform certain members of Congress, identified in the statute, of what's up. And from that point forward, they have a 60 to 90-day free hand, depending on the circumstances, but up to 90 days to continue the military activities. And then Congress has given itself the authority to intervene. Now, that statute is utterly unconstitutional. The president has the power as commander-in-chief under Article 2. We've said this before. The declaration of war is just that. It's a declaration of war. It's not a declaration to make war. President doesn't have to go to the Congress in advance to get an okay to make war. That's not what the Constitution says. As a matter of fact, as we've discussed, the first draft of the Constitution had Congress's authority to include making war. There was a big debate. They removed it, and they said these 535 knuckleheads, back then it was some smaller number, but this big committee can't be in charge of war. We're always debating, and that's what we do. We pass legislation and we do oversight. That's all we do. We don't have the expertise, the staff, and of course today, the military, the daily briefings to make these decisions. And who's going to make them in Congress? You're going to have a vote all the time? And how do you keep military action secret so they're successful, so we don't lose the lives of military personnel or American citizens? So all these issues, they were thought about in general by the framers, and they said, all right, we're changing the word make to declare. What does that mean? Doesn't mean anything. If Congress declares war, it's declaring war at the behest of the executive. Every time Congress has declared war, Congress doesn't wake up and say, you know what, we're declaring war on Cuba. Okay, declare it all you want. I'm the president of the United States and I'm not doing anything about it. It doesn't even make any sense. What makes less sense are the Democrats and the woke right neo-fascist isolationists who go out there and they say this is a violation of the Constitution. Where? How? This is a violation of the law. It's not even a violation of the War Powers Act of 1973. What is the violation exactly? There is no violation. So they throw that around there just so you think that what's going on now is illegitimate as a matter of law and Constitution. It's not. So the Democrats need to be put aside in this debate. The woke right needs to be dealt with because they claim to be under our umbrella. So is the threat imminent? Let me ask you a question. If imminent means you have to wait to be attacked, then it's not imminent. If imminent means we have to take action now because it's a small window of opportunity, the enemy is weak or weaker than it's ever been, including the people in that country rising up, trying to overthrow it, including the economy being in the tank. Is it imminent? Then it's imminent. Well, why is it imminent? The conditions are such that we can attack them, but why is that imminent? Nuclear weapons, that's why it's imminent. Well, do they have nuclear weapons? They don't have them because we acted in June against an imminent threat that these same people opposed. Well, is it imminent today? If the president concludes, as he has and his advisors, also working with other countries and their advisors and their intelligence agencies as well as ours, that it's now or never, that they'll have too many ballistic missiles that we can't defend against, that they'll have perhaps a breakout that we won't know about until it's too late, like we did with North Korea. North Korea had a breakout all of a sudden. They woke up, guess what, boys? We have nuclear warheads. That's how that happened, ultimately. Folks, if you enjoyed this clip and you want to watch the entire episode, I'm telling you, you're going to love it. You can go to YouTube and subscribe, or go to Rumble and follow. And by the way, tell your friends and family too. I'll see you then.